Welcome to Connecting the Lines, the podcast where we talk about all things critical infrastructure and beyond. So today we're going to be talking about innovation. So what does it mean to be innovative? Why it's important for companies and industries and the world? What are some of the challenges with innovation and being innovative? So today with me I have two absolute experts in the realm of innovation. So Randy Cloud, mechanical engineer with over 40, I had 40 years, but you said 50 years actually of engineering and design experience. And you're not actually that old. You started when you were 16, I think, or 15 and a half, working in engineering and product design. Named on I think I have over 25 active patents or something close to that, with additional patents pending. Many different projects you've worked on, including developing the first plastic telecommunications closure for PLP. What year was that?
It was in the 90s. So 95 is when I came in on board in 1990, and about 5 years later, we released the first plastic closure.
Okay. You're also one of the inaugural members of PLP's innovation team, which we're going to talk about a little bit. And you currently oversee all product development projects for PLP's telecommunications, solar power, and EV charging infrastructure markets.
New product development, yep.
And then I also have Ben Cielsielczyk, mechanical engineer as well, 7 years on PLP's innovation team and current team leader. You have a lot of different experience, including electric power systems, fiber optic connectivity, sensors, data analysis, and drone and robotics technology.
Yeah, we've worked with a little bit of everything while I've been here.
And you are currently named on 7 active U.S. patents, as well as 1 international patent, and have several patents pending. So that's awesome. So the first question that I kind of have and what I want to get into is, what does the term innovation mean? What does that actually mean? I actually saw an article from Wired magazine that said the word has been overused to the point that national discussion has become circular, meaning to be innovative, we have to encourage innovation. So as two innovators, what does that mean?
I like to keep it pretty basic, honestly. So basically just innovation to me is finding a better way to do something, whether it's easier to use, faster to do, sometimes more cost effective, just making something better than it already is.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I see innovation more as a tool. When an idea is brought up or a creative concept, innovation is the way to bring it to market. It's two separate entities.
Right. So I actually have also that nothing is really truly innovative unless it actually increases value and drives growth. So this is kind of the difference between, a concept and actually bringing it to market, which would make something innovative. It actually does something. So it's kind of like not just the what, but it's also the how and the why. So an example I think I have is that Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, right, famously, but he also invented the manufacturing processes and the market and all that. If he had just done that, it's kind of like, well, that's interesting, but there's no real market for it. So let's talk about, as an individual, what makes someone a innovative thinker?
I think a person has to have that trait. It's like a person being an athlete. They're either very athletic or they're not. To be creative, I think you are born with it. I'm not saying you can't teach somebody to be more creative, but the ones that are really creative are born with it. They have the different mindset than others. And that's how I see it when I interview people for jobs. I ask them, how would you change this paperclip? They say they're creative, but they can't give me an idea or another thought. So, but you have to have that trait.
Right.
Yeah, I would say it's really a mindset, like you said there, that there's always a current way to do something, and you could just do it that way, but it's a mindset like, well, maybe there's a better way to do this. I'm going to take a little bit of time, think about this a bit, and find a better way to do it.
Right. Yeah. The same article from Wired kind of broke it down to 2 different areas where you have to have the skills, which is kind of the learning part, but then you have to have the behavioral traits, which is what you're talking about, Randy, which is really you have to have curiosity, resilience, and ability to collaborate, and you have to also be able to develop both observation and communication skills.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about creativity So what's the difference between creativity and innovation, or are they the same?
Well, I think, like I said earlier, creativity is the thought, the idea. I can come up with a teleportation idea. That's just a thought. Innovation is the tool that starts building the prototypes, building that concept to see if it's even feasible at this point where we're at.
Yeah, I guess innovation is the implementation of creativity, you could say.
Yep.
Bringing it back to Thomas Edison, I think he was the one that said the famous quote that innovation is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration, right? So it's actually doing it.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. Nothing. If it was easy, somebody else would have done it in the first place. A lot of times it's kind of digging deeper under the surface to find a better way to do it that maybe isn't obvious.
I think that's the mindset. Is always looking at a different way to make it better. For example, milk jugs. You used to always have to open it up, and well, you guys probably don't remember that, but
Right.
I vaguely do. Yeah, when I was really young in grade school, the old cardboard ones.
The other thought was then you couldn't close it, so came up with an idea: a little knob on the side, and then you pour it out, or a different way of paper clip. Everybody's looking for a different way to reinvent.
Right. Yeah, I mean, bringing it back to companies, Google was not the first search engine. Apple did not invent the smartphone, but they certainly understood the market better, and they developed certain things that, made it more attractive type things, but they were not the original inventor, of that.
That idea. They were the innovators of that, bringing it to the market.
Correct.
They were better at it than others.
Right. So what about expectations versus results? So there was a survey that said that 80% of executives say innovation is among their top 3 priorities, but only 10% were satisfied with how their company was performing innovatively.
Well, I guess it depends on the mindset of the company. I can come up with an idea with a different bottle, let's say, but if we're not in that market and we don't have the tools to bring it to market, they look for a different idea, something more related to their needs.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely have to be willing as a company to take a chance on innovation if you want to, actually implement some of them.
Okay.
Because a lot of innovations are risky. It's a new, different way to do something, and all the data in the market says that the current way is what is selling. That's what's working. So you really have to have some vision and I guess some kind of hope. Some faith that what you innovate will become a big thing in the market.
Okay. So you are former and current members of PLP's innovation team. So explain how we do all that here. Manage risk, how we run the innovation team, and explain it from that perspective.
It's an interesting industry, the utility industry, especially like the power industry is a very traditionally conservative industry, very standards driven. So innovation it is a little bit harder than like say a technology like a smartphone industry, right? With that, it's just kind of the wide open, straight to consumer market. But we have to hit a bunch of standards. So it is a little more challenging in our industry to launch innovative products because of that. So kind of one of the most successful ways that we have had innovation is smaller steps in our products. So small changes to existing products that make it easier to use, better functionality, cheaper, maybe all of the above.
Right.
Yeah, I think from the business standpoint, it depends. Preform is a great company because it allows us to innovate anything. I think some companies you're limited to the arena that they're doing business in. Like we've came up with a new iPhone, and we're in the power and telecom business, but coming up with a new iPhone, some companies may not want to do that because it's not their bread and butter. It could be a great idea, but then the idea just sits there at that point, and then we move on. It could be anything. But the innovation team, when we started it, they gave us free rein to think of anything. It didn't have to be in this market. They pulled everybody out of Preform. I was engineering manager here. They pulled me into the innovation team for a year, and my focus was just any new ideas. And at that point, drones were just coming into the marketplace. And out of the drone business, we said, well, how can we use the drones? And we kept thinking of different ideas, and we thought, well, maybe we can do, instead of using helicopters, use drones to do inline inspection. And that was easier to get into preform marketplace. And that came around.
So what were some of the crazy ideas that didn't come to fruition?
I don't know if I want to say
can
the
you talk
craziest
about
ones, but we thought of all kinds of different things. Things on how to take care of children, nursing things.
There were some innovative driveway markers and garden stakes.
We did bring that up. Yep.
Disposable luggage was one of the original ideas.
I still have. I think that's still a winner.
Disposable luggage?
It's basically the idea I came up with at the time was, our lunch bags are out of plastic. We have garbage bags, and people want to do travel. So if I made a more durable Ziploc bag with a handle on it, could be clear, it could be dark. I can use it. I can go to a drugstore, buy a box of luggage for the kids. So we're going on vacation. I don't really care. Just throw the clothes in it. We throw it in, and then we go. We come back. We throw it away, and you buy another one.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to store all the old, the big
Right.
giant suitcases in the basement. So.
Okay.
But that's a prime example. It's an idea that we have. It's not really in our marketplace, and so the idea sits there.
Right.
So don't take that idea.
Do we have a patent for it?
Oh, we actually, when the first team innovation, we created, a memory base of ideas. Those ideas are still sitting there. It's our foundation of thoughts. So if we ever have to go back, we want to get into a new market, it's something we can tap into.
Right. Because some of the other things is kind of timing matters, right? Is the market ready for this? Is there a consumer base for this? That definitely matters.
Yep, and are we positioned somewhere where we want to try to innovate in a market?
Right.
Sometimes we're just trying to, fulfill orders. Like the last couple of years, the market's been going kind of crazy. Other times when it slows down, a lot of times that's when it seems like people are more interested in trying something new, right? Because there's more resources available to put towards something like that would help it out.
Well, what's helping out a lot now is the sales teams are more involved. They're out there in the field and talk with a craftsman. The craftsman goes, if only I could do this. There's nothing out there. Well, that guy brings that idea back. And then these guys in the innovation team now say, well, wait a minute, we can come up with something to do this. And that introduces a new product. So a lot of ideas are people that have needs. And then we can become more creative to come up with that to resolve that need.
Okay. So how do you decide which projects to take on or when something needs to stop or continue on? How is that decided upon? What's that process like?
We work fast enough, so you just do them all.
Well, we also had a method where we fail fast. Is come up with an idea and fail fast, meaning we put prototypes. If it doesn't feel like there's a short-term solution, if it's real long, then we shelf it and go on to the next idea. Like I said, we can come up with teleportation idea, and if we can't do it, we just shelf it. We have to go on. I mean, that's a bad example of that, but
speed definitely is important. I think in innovation, like you said, fail fast, fail cheap. I like the succeed fast, succeed cheap instead of that
Positive,
one.
not negative.
But no, it really is important. When people are interested in something, it's more likely that an innovation would go through, right?
Yeah.
Say somebody brings down a problem to us, and if you don't have an idea within a couple of months, say, of like a working prototype, they're just going to forget about it, or they're going to find an existing product that kind of works and solves the solution. They'll find something that's good enough, that's kind of one of the reasons innovation doesn't happen in some cases, is that people find stuff that is existing that's good enough. But our job as innovators is to quickly come up with something that does a better job of solving, than what is out there currently. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So where do those ideas or inspiration come from?
Well, if you're kind of curious, like how our team works, the way that we get ideas. So there's kind of two different ways. One of the things that we do is we try to work with everyone at PLP, at our company, to help them give ideas to solve the problems that they have. So we try to get involved with all new engineering projects that are like problem solving type of things. So that way the engineer comes up with ideas and we come up with ideas also, and then they're all kind of combined at the front end of the project. So that way hopefully they combine to a better solution since you have multiple people working on ideas.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing I think it's extremely important with a team, you have to be extremely open-minded. Because I can have an idea and he has an idea. Maybe you have to blend the two to come up with an idea. We don't tend to shoot down ideas that aren't any dumb ideas.
Right.
You just can't. You can't shoot people down. I have people working with me that are complete negative. I can say, well, this is a concept we're going to do. Oh, that's never going to work. Well, we don't need that innovation team. There's always a way to resolve a problem. It may not be a good solution, but you have to be extremely open-minded and work with others.
And even if it is a bad solution, maybe it'll when someone else sees that bad solution, it'll spur them to work on one that ends up being what is a better solution.
Yeah.
What about who are some innovative companies or individuals that you maybe draw inspiration from or think of as being truly innovative?
That's good. I would say Apple when it came out with the phone that changed the world. Right. You have Musk now that they just introduced yesterday. He's coming out with robots. So that from innovation, those guys are brilliant. But the question is, when they came out with a phone or a robot, now's the time to start thinking, how can I use that tool now, a robot in different areas? That's a way to come up with new ideas. You're not really being creative. You just find different ways to use that tool that maybe somebody else isn't. It's like electric cars. We're dealing with electric cars. One thought, it's a brainstorm idea, is if you have your car going down the highway and you have rails where you're inside an infrared beam and it hits your hubcaps and charges your car as you go along. Mm-hmm. That's possible, but we don't have the infrastructure.
Infrastructure, right?
But you have to be open to a lot of these different ideas of what people are doing and where we can use the idea. Mm-hmm. You might see something on TV, say, "Hey, I could do that here," or do this with that. But
yeah, it's almost like a way of life. You always have to be ready and looking for things to help inspire you. Like you kind of always have something going in the back of your mind. Like I have these problems, that I'm trying to solve in my industry, and maybe you see a commercial on TV, or maybe you see something at a trade show, or when you're talking to some random person, you'll be like, I could use this to help solve that problem.
Right. So explain the new product development process. Not specifically here, just in general terms. How does that work from, conception to reality?
Well, a lot of times someone starts with a problem, right? Something that they're trying to solve or some goal they're trying to accomplish, I would say. And that's kind of my innovation process, is that when someone brings me a problem, I try to break it down to like the simplest way possible in my mind first, and then build it back up from there. So like say someone's complaining or they want a better way to hold a power line to an insulator. Well, like what I would do in my mind is I would be like, okay, well, what are we actually trying to do here at the simplest form? We're trying to hold a cylinder to just another shape, right? So you kind of start there. I think about what else I've seen in the world that holds, what else holds cylinders to shapes, and kind of from there build it up into an actual real product.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I can give you a good example is we deal with telecom, a lot of different sealing methods, and we usually have 12 to 15 different grommets to seal around a cable. And I think the same way he does. What's a better way of doing it? And to be honest with you, the idea I thought was if I had a jelly-filled donut and I put a cable into a jelly-filled donut, it didn't matter what size cable would go, it'd seal it. So the thought process was, well, if I come up with a softer grommet, like a jelly-filled, really soft durometer, could I do that? So in our process, we have an idea, a concept, and we can put in a research development project in. And at that point, what we typically do is we start building prototypes to see if we can actually make it functional, the idea functional. If it gets to the point where in this case, they wanted a grommet that went from no grommet to be able to seal in our closures up to an inch. Like I said, typically we have 10 to 12 different grommets to do that range. We were able to get down to one, but we couldn't get up to an inch cable. We had to split the range. And so we went from 12 down to maybe 2 grommets. And from those round grommets, we were able to go to our smaller closures, rectangular closures, where we had 13 grommets, and we were able to get down to 2. So from that concept going through the project, we have the prototype, we then get into production, then we get into testing, then we release. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how it flows through here.
One of the keys that I saw there was like the prototyping phase.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sets creativity apart from innovation, a lot of people can have ideas, but like the innovation happens when you actually build something, right? It's like you need to build it and test it and try it out, and that kind of starts the ball rolling. And you'll have different ideas as you build it and test it. I could do this different, that different, but like the biggest step that people need to take, I think, is you need to just try to build what you're thinking of.
And then you determine the limits of the idea, because you may have an idea, but it has limits, and that's exactly what. Well, we can't use it here, but I can use it over here doing this, and it starts to grow. The idea grows to other areas.
Right, and I think you hit on that's the hardest part that I think a lot of companies don't understand is ideas are the easy part, right? It's the implementation that is.
I don't know about that.
I would agree with you, Josh. I think that the idea is just like 10-15% of it, and the other is like you actually have to do something with it then, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I disagree with that. I can come up with an idea, and this is, well, that's a simple idea. Anybody could have thought of that. Well, if anybody could have thought of it, why didn't you think of it? They don't. It's like I have a cup, and nobody ever thought about putting a handle on it. Oh, yeah, that's a simple idea, but
I'm not saying it's easy.
Yeah,
but,
I think those happen, but I think there's a lot of ones that it's
bringing
on
it to market.
implementation. Yeah, because a lot of people have the same idea, but one company does it better. It's kind of like, if Kodak, to say that they didn't think of digital photography or any of that stuff is just crazy. That it wasn't on their mind. They just didn't know how to do it.
Right. Well, it's like the idea we talked before this podcast was I had the idea years ago putting a wire into a wiper blade on the arm of the blade itself, and this wire would be a heated wire, and it just had an on-off switch inside a car. So in the areas that we live with snow and ice buildup on wiper blades, they would always be warm and heated, and they never have a buildup of ice. Well, this company's not into automotive. We're not into wiper blades, so the idea is a good idea, but we really can't implement it. Mm-hmm. Now, unless we sold the idea to somebody, it'd be a different concept.
Right.
Now, it'll probably sell, and it'll be out.
Yeah, I was going to say, another one.
You're giving away all your good ideas here.
There you go. I was supposed to wait until after retirement to do these things.
Well, that brings me to my next topic is patents. So explain to me what a patent is from an engineering perspective. I know you're not lawyers, but from an engineering perspective, what is a patent?
A patent, in my mind, is an idea that you have protection to limit other people from using it. There's always ways around the patent, but if you have an idea, it's just more protection for the company on the idea.
Okay.
Yeah, it gives you basically a 15, 20-year period where your company exclusively can implement that idea in products.
So how do you judge if something is patent-worthy or not? Because I'm sure that there has been instances when something was original or new and didn't deem that it needed a patent.
I mean, a lot of it ties back to, is it going to be worth it to the company to invest the money and time in doing it? Because it is. There's a considerable cost to apply for a patent, and all the time and resources it takes to write it, review it, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of one thing, is to see, is it something we could feasibly implement in the markets that we are currently in or could see ourselves being in? Mm-hmm.
I think these patents are all company oriented, and my idea or concept or thought on that is if the company it's a really good idea, they want to put a patent on and protect it. My other thought on it is if it's an idea that they're not going to pursue, my personal opinion, I think you put it on a podcast, your idea. Then you show proof that you had the idea before somebody else had it. But they're changing the rules.
That's where you're going with the wiper blades. It's out there now, right?
That's right. So they can't stop you from going forward. It's prior knowledge. So if anybody else wants to go out there and do that idea, they can do that.
Okay. What's the difference between a U.S. patent and an international? I mean, layman's terms, I would think that just means it's protected in the U.S. versus protected internationally, but I guess I don't know exactly.
That's correct. There's U.S. patents that are only for the U.S., and international, it depends on what country you want to go international, because you're not going to do the whole world.
Okay.
So you'll either do like Europe or Great Britain or Japan, wherever.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's some countries that have like reciprocity that kind of recognize other ones, and other countries don't recognize other ones. So it kind of depends on which markets you're in, which countries. And
so you could just file in the U.S. and they might recognize it elsewhere? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or like, say we file for something in the U.S., like China is pretty loose on, they don't really pursue, legal action against their personal citizens who violate other patents.
Right.
So like a U.S. patent might not protect you very much over in China. You'd have to apply for their version of a patent. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Preform also tries to at least do a filing. You can do a filing. You have up to a year, I believe, to go forward with the patent, and at least it puts you in a holding spot on that idea. So a lot of our concepts might be filed, and then at about a year point, they decide if they want to pursue it at that point.
Okay. As an organization, how do you create a culture of innovation? I mean, Randy, you were saying that that PLP has that. We are because we're open to ideas and stuff like that. So how do you create that culture of innovation?
I think a lot of the people employed here are, well, right now a lot of them are engineers who went from engineering into the marketing place, so they have that mindset. Even a lot of our sales guys are extremely creative. And even the people in customer service, they do have ideas on certain things. And the environment here is they can come down here and talk to Ben on an idea. They don't have to worry about getting it to the marketplace. It doesn't have to even be a product. It could be a process. So we kind of leave that open to the employees, and they'll bring their ideas downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of it's just not shooting people down. If someone brings an idea, try to at least work on it a little bit, to make something that would solve the problem that they brought up.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it is talent too, right? Kind of like what we were talking about, like you're born with it or you're not. So it's something you need to understand with the people that you're bringing on,
Right?
And you also need the time to be able to innovate. To sit down, to break problems down to their simplest form and make concepts, prototype them. So like a lot of the engineers have, a big project workload, and everyone in marketing, everyone else at PLP has like all these assigned tasks that they're doing, to keep the company going.
Right.
And so that was kind of one of the main reasons I think that PLP made an innovation team. So we don't actually get projects assigned to us. We kind of get to pick and choose what we work on. And that gives us the time and the freedom to work on all these ideas that other people don't have time to work on. A lot of them are just focused on the guaranteed stuff that'll for sure work, but they're not big jumps,
Right.
And so for, prior to our team being, maybe people weren't taking those big risks on projects that weren't likely to succeed. But if those ones do succeed, they could succeed really big. So.
One of the things I see here at Preform also is we can come up with an idea, and what we have a strong base here is you come up with an idea, and all of a sudden it starts getting other people to think, and they enhance that idea, or they evolve the idea. And I think we have a lot of people that are like that. They may not come up with the original idea, but they can enhance the idea to bring it to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably 60 to 70% of what the innovation team does. Is we just, someone else has an idea or, an inkling of an idea to solve a problem, and then we'll help flesh it out and make it actually work in the real world.
Right. What about ethical considerations? So just because you can do something, should you?
I guess it would depend on the product or idea. If it's an idea for military, they could destroy people. I think you may have to think twice about an idea.
Well, that's a good point, because I just recently watched the movie Oppenheimer, right? So I think that was a struggle with a lot of the scientists that were working on that. I mean, there was various reasons why they needed to do that, but it definitely was a decision they had to make. But I think it's also, you don't know where that's going to go.
Evolve.
How can you type thing, or even in some ways where else it might go for the greater good if you're talking about nuclear power and that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, I'm not smart enough to worry about those ideas.
Luckily, we haven't made any of those dangerous
splitting atoms and things like that, right?
Yeah, thank God.
I think pretty much everything we make, it all helps people.
Yeah.
A lot of the new innovative, products and things that we have implemented over the last 10, 20 years, they're just they make it
service oriented.
easier to work on stuff in the field
and that kind of stuff.
Some of the drone stuff, people don't have to climb poles anymore. It's like everything we're doing is making it safer and easier for people.
Yeah, from the ethical standpoint, or maybe moral, it's just when somebody comes up with an idea, you don't want to steal that idea in a corporation, or else you'll destroy that growth, that harmony here,
that culture of innovation.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Because if he gives me an idea and I go out and no, it's my idea. You just can't have that. You have to be open to everybody's idea and include them all into the concept. They want pride in their idea. So.
And it'll probably make a better product in the end when you do, because they're going to have more ideas
Different
along
ideas.
the way. Yep.
Mm-hmm. How do emerging technologies play into innovation, either using new tools or, something like AI or something, fast prototyping? How does that play in?
Yeah, so on our team, if you're talking about prototyping, we have a couple of different 3D printers that really help us, like I was talking about before, getting ideas out there quickly. We can have an idea one day, draw it up in a computer in a couple hours, and you come in the next day and it's already printed a full 3D working model in your hand that you could test with, honestly. So that helps a lot. And just, having contacts like at machine shops or being able to work, honestly, like all of us on the team are pretty kind of hands-on type of people, so we're not afraid to go out there and just start bending sheet metal, making a prototype.
Yeah, I think the innovation with where it's going allows, especially the way I think, more ideas, being more creative. With robots come into play, more AI. Like I said, we could have robots installing these products on the hardware. How can I do that? We are working with a company even now from an innovation side. How can we install products instead of having somebody go up there and a helicopter hanging from a wire? So new technology, in my mind, triggers other ideas and how to become more useful or user-friendly for the person doing it, safer.
That definitely seemed like the low-hanging fruit in our industry was, how do you – it's not that you're getting rid of line workers and that, but how do you keep them on the ground more? Less up in the air, a lot less danger.
Yeah, safer,
Well, what about from an AI perspective, and you're talking about stealing ideas, how would you feel in the future if some artificial intelligence developed these innovative ideas and it wasn't an individual, but maybe it was built on the backs of everybody else because it developed
Isn't
all
that
of
an innovation idea? Somebody came up with AI, right?
Yeah, sure.
I just see it as a tool.
Okay.
It's like a calculator in my mind. I'm not threatened by technology. If we were all afraid of technology, we'd still be riding horses. We wouldn't have cars because people were afraid of cars back then, or electricity instead of the gas lights. We have to embrace technology. You have to move forward.
Right.
You have to treat it as a tool and not be fearful of it.
I'm the same way. Like, bring it on.
What about any recommended resources for anyone that is more interested in innovation? Podcasts, books, anything that you have either of you have looked to?
We're starting one now, are we?
There you go. Take a listen.
No, I guess just trying to keep up. Everyone reads, uses the internet, but just it's all in the news stories. Just kind of keep up on all the modern technology trends. And don't be afraid to play around with it. Like AI is a good example. I've sat down and played around with ChatGTP. I don't know if you guys probably everyone has here. So just whenever there is something new, just embrace it and explore it. Basically, see how you can use it to better improve what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you're not using that tool and somebody who owns that tool is taking your idea and restoring it, right?
Yeah.
So, but. Yeah, I think he just treated it as tools to expand ideas out there, so make things better.
It's ways for us to get our ideas out faster. Probably back when you guys started.
Oh yeah,
you would spend days. Just hand drafting. Where now I can just click a few computer clicks, make a model, and upload it to a printer, and have the part the next day. Where it might have been a 2-week process before to lay out a drawing, send it to a machine shop, get it quoted. So, I think
it's all new technology, right? 3D printing. You're right. Back in the old days, you used to have to carve out of wood or wax or something just to show a prototype. Now, within a few minutes, we can 3D print something. So, laser cutting parts. You got technology to bring your ideas forward. So,
and there's some big innovations coming out, like with AI, and as far as like the CAD also. So we don't have any of that yet, but like in the newer versions of Creo, they have AI tools in there where you can just like draw a basic block of what you want and say, optimize this for casting made out of aluminum, and it goes.
See, our innovation team's growing. They're coming up with all kinds of ideas.
But instead of somebody, a draftsperson spending 2 days doing their best to make it simple, this computer can give you 20 different concepts at once and say, which one of these would you like?
Right. See, that's how PLP's innovation team is. They're not limited to just our product. They look at everything. which is good, which brings up other ideas. So.
Right. It's definitely not easy. It definitely takes it takes time, and it's almost work to try to stay on top of it because with as quick as stuff advances in today's society.
Sure.
I mean, you just always have to just keep a vigilant eye and keep an open
know what's
ear.
coming,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that leads you perfect segue into my last kind of question is what is coming? So what is, in your eyes, like what's the next big breakthrough that's going to change how we live, how we work, whatever?
Well, I think AI, when they start developing that and they move that into robots or robot dogs or lawnmowers or helping people that are in hospice be able to pick them up, and because it's strengthful, it's tools to make things better, and I think that's the big push right now is the robotics of everything.
Yeah, it's like the combination of AI and robotics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You need AI for the robotics, so that's I think the next big wave. Like you said, the cars will be you won't be driving your cars probably in 10 years. They'll be driving themselves.
At least on the highway.
Yeah, you
I
have
would
a speed limit of 100 miles an hour. They're all programmed. They're all going, getting back and forth. You may not even own cars. They'll probably be more like an Uber where you just schedule a car, picks you up, and takes you wherever you want. And you just pay for the service. You have to worry about maintenance. You don't have to worry about any of that. You're getting closer and closer to the Jetsons, but hey.
They seem pretty happy.
Same thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I would say a lot of AI and robotics, I guess.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much for being on the podcast, guys. And be sure to stay tuned for future installments of Connecting the Lines.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Josh.